Are you ready? Are you ready to hear some thought-provoking concepts about how we move our body? I'm Linda Gee-Hesketh, and I'm here as a mom, a wife, a grandma, and formerly trained as a kinesiologist. So the science of human movement, but also a world traveler. So I'm going to bring you concepts based in Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, different cultural thoughts on movement, and hopefully inspire you to apply some of these really simple principles that are so cool, and they leave us feeling so good. And the side bonus is that we look really good and we move in an agile way, and it's sustainable and harmonious with the rest of our lives. So stay tuned. In Celebrating Delicious Movement podcast, my whole desire in creating this was to inspire physical movement and touch on concepts which support the ability to get the most benefit, the most training effect, the most goodness out of the movements that we do. I think there's just so much value in moving because stuck energy and stuck emotions can very easily get trapped in our bodies, which is what episode 11 is about. Our issues are in our tissues. But also, when we move, that's the only way we create a pump for our lymphatic system, which drains the toxins into our belly, and then we urinate it out. And this is all while bringing immune system cells to the areas where we need growth or repair. And I go over that in detail. I think it's episode 5. But there's also power in the pause. Because when we work with elite athletes, I think one of the most powerful concepts that they grasp, that the general population doesn't grasp, is that there's power in rest. There's power in recovery. And what often happens is people think, doing this activity is going to solve all my issues. And so I'm just going to do more and more and more and more and more. And any that I can squeeze in, I'll get. And if I have an exercise prescription or a training plan, if I miss a day, I'll do my missed day and my scheduled day all in one just so I can check it off the box. And that's not actually how the body works because, for example, if I was training for a half marathon and I had a long run to do on Sunday, and then I had hill training on Tuesday, and I missed my Sunday run, I wouldn't do my long run and my hill training run together on Tuesday just so I could check it off the box, because that's putting me at risk for injury. It's exhausting. It's two different energy systems. It's confusing for the body. The body's just going to see it as stress and doesn't know what to adapt to. So I love that the collective consciousness, society in general, is having more, maybe not enough, but more now than before. There's movement away from hustle culture and back-to-back appointments and being proud of being busy, like the busyness, and why we feel burnout and exhaustion and overwhelm and fatigue. And I would even say so much resentment, because I think that in many generations, the patriarchy, if we want to call it that, how we've been conditioned, has been telling us to do this and to be seen as successful. We just need to be super productive. We need to do back-to-back things, and as soon as I finish one thing, I just step into my next task. And even better if I can be productive and overlap my tasks and be multitasking. And that would increase my productivity, increase my efficiency, and increase my value. When the truth is, if we look at brain science, multitasking doesn't actually work because it's very depleting as far as how the brain uses energy, and stopping and starting different things, because we can't actually focus on more than one thing at a time. And from an energetic standpoint, this robs us of a balance between the masculine energy of just making a list and ticking through all of the tasks on the list, and the feminine energy, which wants or even needs to lean back, to integrate some meaning, to experience it as a creative art, an expression, and not just do the task for the sake of doing the task, but also to absorb meaning or a message or a lesson or the beauty or the deliciousness of what it is that we're doing, and integrate that and let it be meaningful in our lives. So I think that's why pause makes us stronger, when we have a pause between segments of activities or segments of tasks. Because when people are super busy and they feel overwhelmed and they don't feel fulfilled, it's partially because that integration, the thought process, the appreciation for what it is that we've been doing, even the celebration of it, doesn't happen at the end of a task. So, for example, we might have, take our kids to a lesson. As soon as the lesson is done, like, we don't even wait for a cool down or anything. It's like into the car. And then as soon as you're at your destination, it's like out of the car into the next task, as opposed to really thinking about, oh, I just did this practice session. What did I get out of it? What am I celebrating? What did I learn? What helped me move forward? And I just think it's so beautiful to integrate the meaningful impact of our experience. It just helps us acknowledge why we did that task or why we did that segment. And the feminine energy really loves the flow of following whispers and inspirations and nudges and receiving the goodness. So here's something that happened to me last week. I was in the forest. My hiking partner was super task oriented and just like head down walking, making a land speed record. And it made my stomach turn, because this particular trail is one that I like to really look around. I like to listen to the birds. I like to get a lot of ideas and a lot of inspirations. And I've recorded a lot of podcasts from this trail, and haven't very often walked on this trail with someone else. So it literally made my stomach turn. And so I begged off and split off from walking together. And I went off the path and I looked at uprooted tree roots because we had just had a big windstorm. I walked on the spongy moss. I listened to the birds. I took a bunch of photos. I journaled. I got to have my own experience of it. And we met up at the end and we were both happy with our experience of the morning. But I really do think that context of how we do something is a beautiful necessity. So I can see why we're drawn to different experiences, but also having the pause and just integrating, I did that and it calmed my nervous system and this is good. Just make a mental note. I like this. This was something I would like to do again. This is something I would like to return to and maybe experience with this person or this other person, or, get inspirations from how you would like it to grow and expand in our life experience. And I think that celebrating is super important, not just to get the dopamine hit, which increases motivation, but also to help us integrate our transformation. Because a lot of times we will do things and before we're even finished, we go to the next thing. And because we're looking at a goal, and each time we move forward, it's almost like the goalposts move further away. And so we always feel like we're in the void between point A and point B. And we're in this, not abyss, but we're kind of in this, this space of, I don't have it yet, or really wanting for something. And it's just not satisfying. But I think there's a book called The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. I might have that wrong, but I think that's what it is. It's called The Gap and the Gain. And most people focus on the gap when really, if we focus on the gain and we see how much we've made progress, and we measure progress in millimeters, like it is still progress. And consistency doesn't have to be every single day or 3 times a week or 4 times a week or 5 times a week. It can be once a week. Like our kids took piano lessons once a week. They still learned how to play the piano. So, consistency can be once every 2 weeks. It can be once every month. But consistency will move you forward and you'll build momentum. Like, sure, piano lessons once a month isn't going to move you forward unless you're doing a whole lot of practice. But it will inspire you to increase the frequency, but just starting somewhere. You don't have to start off with 7 days a week and make it a rule and then be mean to yourself if you aren't like a machine and don't do 7 times a week. So noticing our gains, circling back to this book, it had an exercise which I adapted into my evenings, and it's made a huge difference. I wanted to share it to you or share it with you because it's made such a profound difference. And I was skeptical at the beginning, but I keep a journal which has a list of 3 things that I made gains in during that day. So if I have goals or if I have aspirations, what did I do today that helped me move forward, even if it's millimeters forward? And so I list 3 things, And then what are 3 things that I plan for tomorrow that will also move me forward? And then as long as I take care of those 3 things, I know that I'm in the process, and to enjoy the process, because in this time of instant gratification, we want things to be quick, and we want things to be just so much faster than we're actually ready to receive them. And we have to grow in order to hold that goal state as well. So we're conditioning ourselves, our minds, our nervous systems, our bodies to be able to hold that desired end result. And that's where I think the power of the pause is, because it helps us with the integration so that we can hold it when we acquire it, when we reach our desires, when we get the results. This is why I've seen time and time again for decades, people have a body transformation, or they integrate a habit that they desire, and then they don't keep it. And then they come back to me and they say, well, why wasn't I able to hold on to this? And it's because it was something we were doing. It's not something we were being. So it was just something we were doing. We were checking it off on the list. And it wasn't something we were being. Like, we weren't being the future self who already had that fit body, or already had strong knees, or who already had the great habit of going for a walk every day. And so then when we got off our list of to-do things, it just fell away because it was something we were doing. It wasn't so much a part of our identity that we just wouldn't feel comfortable if we skipped it. So that's a transformation. That's an integral, huge step that I prioritize with my clients, so that it's not just making the transformation. It's not just getting information about how to do it. It's actually being able to hold the change and integrate it into their lifestyle, into different scenarios, and to embody the change so they can't even remember what it feels like to be the way they were before. So I hope this is helpful. If you have aha moments or anything connected the dots, let me know in the comments. I hope you follow or subscribe, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Have a beautiful day. I hope you enjoyed our time together. If you'd like to deepen some understanding or continue to have shared experiences together, I invite you to connect on my website. It's www.lindagehesketh.com, and there are some freebies on there. Also, I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Linda Gee-Hesketh. And if you're on Facebook, there's a free Facebook community group. It's called Celebrating Delicious Movement Podcasts. And I look forward to connecting with you some more.